right, well, Florida has become the latest state to reach 100,000 cases of coronavirus. On Monday alone, the state's Department of Health reported 2,926 new cases. As you can imagine, the virus has caused a significant toll on the financial business of the state. Florida's chief financial officer, Jimmy Patronis, trying to figure out a way to get some of that money back, sent a letter to the Communist Party of China demanding financial restitution because of the harm caused by COVID-19. That letter went unanswered, shocker. But Patronis is now asking 100,000 businesses and vendors registered with the state to identify any ties that they have with the Chinese government. Florida's chief financial officer, Jimmy Patronis, joins us now to tell us about that. Jimmy, welcome back to the show.
Great to join y'all. Thanks so much.
You bet. So I actually like this. I think I'm going to give you the award for the most ingenious and creative and effective way for figuring out how to do this. Because every time I ask somebody about what we're doing to hold, China accountable, they give me a bunch of, well, we're going to work hard and da-da-da-da. I think you figured out a way to really kind of get to the nut of this, which is go to where it really matters and clamp down on the relationships that these businesses have and try to cut them off. So tell me, how is it going? What are you finding, and how do you think this is going to work?
So 100,000 letters have been sent out. We've had over 12,000 responses so far. And look, my job is to bring greater transparency to the citizens of the state of Florida. Their taxpayer dollars are being spent with vendors. And look, if I was still in the Florida legislature, the first bill that I would file this year would every website, when selling items that could be originated or sold from the state of Florida, you'd have to state clearly on that listing where the manufacturer is from. So as we provide this data forward, this is to help the legislature, governor, and maybe the attorney general for restitution purposes.
So walk me through this. First of all, that's a lot of letters. Your hand must be getting tired if you're signing those things. But so like, let's say you identify a Florida company and they say, yeah, we're sourcing stuff from China. Are you telling them they can't get it from there anymore, or that they have to label it, or what are you asking them to do, or what are you doing with that information?
So specifically, what we want to identify is if you're a vendor doing business with the state of Florida and you've gone through the certification process, if you are owned or partly owned by the Communist Republic of China, we want to know about it. What's the percentage that you're owned by this foreign country? And that's as simple as that. If you have no ownership and you're not owned by any part or way, shape, or form of the Communist Party of China, then you simply state that in your response.
And just so I know this, I know that when you talk about companies like ZTE or Huawei, they're like, oh, we have nothing to do with the Communist Party of China, and they try to pretend they're independent. Are you making sure that those companies that are truly controlled by the state are part of this, or is it that they literally have to say, yes, the Chinese Communist Party is part of us?
Well, if they have documented that part of their ownership and their SunBiz or however their corporate documents are filed, if there's ownership that is by the Communist Party of China, we want to know about it. If you go and reflect back to the building boom we had back in 06, 07, 08, in Florida, we had a massive influx of Chinese drywall causing cancer and healthcare problems. But here's a perfect example where these drywall manufacturers were wholly owned by the Communist Party of China. So this was one way. There was some restitution brought back because of Chinese influence that ended up ultimately hurting Florida citizens.
Jimmy, I want to go back to something that Sean had talked about earlier, is the spike in cases in Florida as the economy tries to reopen these businesses. Governor DeSantis saying this about the spike. Take a listen.
They're also looking at construction workers and other types of day laborers. They're finding these are overwhelmingly Hispanic workers and day laborers, but they were in Northwest Florida, found a couple cases, contact traced to the households, and out of 15 households, found 53 positive cases out of 15 households. So they're in a situation where you have a lot of people in these households. Once one gets it, that close contact allows it to spread.
So obviously some issues there with these field workers who are in close contact, but also, anybody who's trying to go back to work. I know that some at Disney are protesting their soon to be open. What are you doing, not only for the businesses to protect them, but also for these employees to make sure they can go back safely so things don't have to get shut down?
Well, there's no two ways about it. Businesses are adapting in order to build back consumer confidence. And it's no different than you've seen with automobile manufacturers. They're advertising and promoting. contactless sales. We will deliver to you. So as businesses are starting to pivot in order to be able to continue to make the cash register ring, we're seeing that at restaurants, we're seeing it retail. 2 weeks ago, I was out for my wife's birthday where we're doing some shopping, had a store we wanted to go into. They would not let you in the store without a mask. But what did they do? Out front, they had a box of masks, and you put the mask on, you can go shop. So you will start to see more and more of these type of proactive actions on behalf of businesses in order to ensure that the cash register flows. In addition, you had a huge setback in the healthcare delivery system with elective surgeries being postponed. Now you're seeing hospitals being very proactive, making sure that they are effectively managing their rooms, their surgery centers, their ICUs in order to not have to endure that loss of revenue and still earn the confidence of the 65-year-old that wants a knee replacement who could be hesitant because of COVID-19.
Jimmy, I want to have you back soon because I want to talk to you about liability reform and how, whether it's these small businesses that you're talking about or these big tourist places like Disney that have got to be very concerned with getting sued over COVID. So we'll find a date. I want to have you back because I know how important tourism is to your state and how much you guys have lost already. And I got to imagine that liability reform is a big piece of bringing back some of that business, and it takes away a lot of concerns. So we're out of time now, but I want to have you back because I think this has got to be so important to your state.
That's front and center for next year's legislative agenda. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thanks for your leadership on holding China accountable. Coming up, some pundits claim that Joe Biden's pick for a running mate is down to 2 frontrunners, while others say that the Democratic nominee is actually expanding his shortlist. We're going to explore the possibilities with our next edition of Veep Stakes. Political experts John Fund and Mark Halperin join us for that next.